All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Space Brothers, episode 31. Hibito has, left the ground. The rocket hasn't gotten to space yet, but it has launched.
It's launched.
Awesome.
He's on his way. Brothers are going to be separated again, but
only for a time.
Going to the moon. He's going to put his video there on the moon.
That's right.
So that Muta will then go up there and watch it once he eventually gets to go on his moon mission or just what have you. They're going to be putting more stuff up there for the moon base, so they're going to be there for a decent amount of time.
Oh, yeah.
We got some time with this absolutely nutter guy here who had
He's a sweetheart.
Amazing spot for them to watch.
Yep.
But
And Appo was safe.
Appo was fine.
Appo did not get incinerated.
Appo was just a plot device for Muta to then end up in this situation.
Exactly.
Here.
But now that Hibito has is leaving Earth, does that mean that we're gonna have the show follow Hibito really in depth as he's doing a bunch of space stuff?
I think we'll cut in between at times.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
I think that'd be cool, but we're still technically in the middle of the whole exam thing as well.
That's true.
To whether or not
it hasn't been officially accepted yet.
Right. Whether or not Muta actually does become an astronaut. So,
but he's gonna become an astronaut.
Yeah. So y'all, without further ado, let's get into this.
Yeah! That's your baby boy in there. Yeah.
Oh.
And now it's gone. It's way up there. You and your brother are no longer on the same planet.
Yeah, you're so close. It's actually really bright. That's crazy. The speeds you'd have to get up to just to send that thing up to break, gravity.
3, 2, 1.
Yep, here comes the blast. Yep. Oh. Nice, he could tell,
by the counting the rope, probably. Or just the time.
Or just the time,
Yeah.
That's the smell of rocket fuel in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm next. Yeah.
Ike!
Yeah! Oh, man. It's wild.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Just lie down.
I barely had time to think about it.
Yep. Follow that trail, Muta.
Whoa.
Oh, that's wild. Yeah, the moment that you see the wind drag stop.
Alright,
OP, let's go.
Perfect.
Okay. 太陽電池パネル展開完了。
Oh. Yeah, man.
宇宙へようこそ。
Yeah. Half a minute.
Wow.
講師に選ばれてからの道のり5年も訓練して
That's insane.
5 years for 30 seconds of travel
Yeah.
for just the transition.
5年じゃすまねえな。
It took a lot longer. Yeah.
10年待ってたよ。こん時を。
Says the youngest astronaut ever.
And there's someone else who knows what those 20 years were like.
飛んでったわお父さん
She's like crushing his wrist. Yeah.
Yeah.
ああ完璧な打ち上げだったな
Everyone's leaving, but they just want to keep staring. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
よかった
Yeah.
久しぶりにドキドキしたわね
Yeah.
嬉しいですね先生
ええ
That little boy that always came to your house. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a part of this launch too. Like, you helped steward his dream.
Yeah.
楽しみね
Yeah. Now it's your turn.
Might not be the rumble of the rocket, but the rumble of the car will do for now.
国際宇宙ステーションにいる星出明彦飛行士と交信をします
Wow.
では早速みんなで星出さんを呼びましょうせーの星
はい、こんにちは。JAXA 宇宙飛行士の星田明彦です。
Yeah. Just freaking out.
宇宙にいいんだよな星出
And
さ
we're
ん
talking to him.
今日は皆さんの質問に答えたいと思います。どうぞよろしく。
Oh, that must be so cool.
処置ができるように医学的な訓練も積んでいるんだ。
はいわかったかなありがとうございました
No, but if you throw up, does it float?
あなたどうぞ
わーいこれだけ人がいるんだからそう簡単には当たんないっていや絶対当たってやる
Getting practice in.
では次にすごいやる気だわねじゃああなた
This question's gonna be so dumb.
質問をどうぞはい
Oh, cool. He grabbed him up there too.
こんにちは生日々とです僕絶対宇宙飛行士になります
That's not a question.
それで僕は月に行きたいんですけど星出さんは行ってみたい星とかあります
Whoa.
いろいろな星に行ってみたいな。月にも行ってみたいし、火星にも行ってみたい。実は僕は宇宙飛行士の試験に2回落ちて、
Whoa.
息のむっちゃんと一緒に絶対宇宙へ行きます
バカ重い
そうか、お兄ちゃんも宇宙へ行きたいんだね。
Do you have a question?
僕は行けたら行きます
ありがとうございました
どういたしまして。宇宙飛行士になった君たちに会えるのを楽しみにしているよ。
Yeah.
Oh, taking it totally seriously. Yeah.
Until we meet again.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because you never know.
Right. Uh-huh.
You never know.
むっちゃんが行かなくても
俺は絶対宇宙に行くからな。
Wow.
君はあれだね、日比人君。昔から絶対
Not true.
Death in Texas.
世の中には絶対はないかもな。
え、
Huh?
でも大丈夫。
Erasing, please. Nah. All right.
Just can't believe how excited Hibito must be.
残り3メートル2メートル1メートル捕獲
The precision.
Yeah.
それでは諸君
We're headed to the moon.
月へ行こ
Wow.
う EDS エンジン点火
Boom.
戦オリオン10秒後 EDS エンジン停止
Nice. Yep.
了解
They're already thinking about the planned return.
Right, they just need the initial acceleration to get going and then just...
Yep.
EDS 切り離しスタンバイ3 2 1
Wow, because it needs to come back to Earth too. And it'll probably take like maybe a week to,
Yeah.
slowly orbit.
Wow. Get that look.
I always loved the concept of using the orbital like pull and gravity of like celestial bodies when talking about space travel in these like not sci-fi like kind of setups here.
左右の感覚が麻痺して目がぐるぐる回ってるだろ。それが宇宙酔いというやつだ。
なんもなってねえけど。
今ちょっと気持ち悪いのに。
My body's been waiting for this for decades.
Mentally preparing himself.
Yep,
He's probably done actual like tests and experiments to try and give his body that feeling of being disoriented,
He went to theme parks as much as he possibly could.
Yeah, there's simulation things that you can get into at museums and stuff like this where
てるわけでもないのに、なんでドッグっていうか知ってるか？
Wait, they aren't?
そういえば知らねえな。なんでなの？
わしも知らん。
God damn it.
あとミルクくれ。
$8です。
milk with a hot dog. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a milk fanatic, but
ところでムッタ、空と人生の一番の違いは何だか知ってるか？あ？なんだ？
I don't know, you tell me.
知らないけど。
わしも知らん。
って言うんだろうぜ、どうせ。
空は誰のもんでもない。
Oh.
それは自分のもんだ。
Whoa.
人生はコントロールが効く。
There are definites.
and that's one of
Whoa. Whoa.
デニール・ヤング。
だから知ってる。
Yeah, yeah.
よく見ろ。わしのもう一つの顔を。
Wait, no way.
さ主任教官パイロット。
パイロット？日々とにジェット機の操縦を立て。
Wow.
わしはコントロールが得意。
So when he was driving like a madman, he's like, nah,
I'm just messing with you.
we're fine.
一生目指してる兄貴ってのはお前のことだろ。あ？もった。お？わしは車は安全運転だが、ジェット機となると。
Yeah, you should see me when I'm in a jet. Like,
Wait, you're safe on the ground?
もう相当。
もった。
yeah.
もしお前が宇宙飛行士に選ばれたら、次にわしと会うのは飛行場だ。イエーイ。
Yeah.
またな。犬はちゃんと繋いどけ。
He's just like, what a wild
Yeah.
encounter.
なんてこった。
Yeah. Ah, damn.
That was great.
That episode felt like it breezed by.
Felt like it took 30 seconds.
There you go. There you go. Okay.
Right.
Liftoff achieved. Hibito's in space.
He's going to the moon.
Going to the moon.
Yeah.
Completely crossed over the barrier between one planet and the void
Yep.
in 30 seconds. God, that's just crazy to think about.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you see the rocket flying up
Right.
from a distance, and you go, wow,
Oh.
that's fast. And then he goes, it's faster than a speeding bullet. And you go,
Right.
like, wait, yeah. And you go, oh, wait, hold on.
Oh, right.
Actually,
Yeah.
whoa.
That's really far
That's
away.
really far away. That's
and I can
really
s-
fast.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And then just, it's gone.
And it's consistent, and it will go even faster as it
As it accelerates.
As it accelerates. It's just,
Yep. That's wild.
absolutely nuts. And then having the episode, as we've done with Space Brothers, kind of show us a lot of their time as kids. And one of the things that we'd seen a lot from Hibito was that he was confident in this pretty consistently. Like, obviously, he probably had doubts at times, but the idea that he would use the word definitely, and that bugged in a more analytical mind like Muta, because he's like, hey, you
not
know
definite,
there's
though.
nothing definite in this world, right? And he's just kind of like, yeah, I don't want to have this conversation, so whatever, sure, brother. Yeah, you're technically right.
Yeah.
But then our buddy Daniil basically is just like, yeah, you know the difference between the sky and life?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, you know, your life is yours. Sky doesn't belong to anybody. And you sit on that for a second, you go, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There actually are some things that are definite.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You will always be you. Sky will never be anyone's.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people can say, you know, whatever they want about that.
But
that's not
Yeah.
changing.
Uh-huh.
And while you know, have things about your life that are going to be beholden to the environment, to other
Right.
people.
Circumstances are not in your
circumstances.
control and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
But-
You can't be sure, you can't be definite that people will choose you to be an astronaut.
But
Sure.
your life will always be yours. Whatever it ends up being,
Yep.
it's still yours. And that's
That-
such a mature response to it. Because, yes, of course there's going to be things that are outside of your control, but it's not about control, it's about ownership.
Right.
It's about taking ownership of the fact that it's still yours.
Until such a time as the world ends, we will assume it intends to keep on spinning, right? Like, you can't, there are things that, yeah, if it happens, well, yeah, that sucks, right?
Sure.
But, oh, hey, even if you end up failing the astronaut exam, guess what? That's not the end of the world.
Right.
Because the astronaut that you talked to as kids, he failed twice.
And now
And
he's
he's
in
in
space,
space.
inspiring the next generation of astronauts and not even realizing it.
Yep.
Probably
So-
realizing it actually.
Yeah, right.
But you know, statistically doesn't necessarily.
Right, he
know.
has no idea. Well, it is not definite
It is
whether
not
or not
definite, exactly.
Hibito will
Yeah.
be an astronaut. But you know what is definite is that he's going to treat it like Hibito will become an astronaut. And
Yes.
So yeah,
Right.
I'll see you there. You know.
Because it's his life too.
Right.
He knows what he can do here, and I feel like there's something so beautiful about that, because it doesn't just keep you positive and confident in general, because there's going to be times where you're not going to be positive or confident.
Oh yeah, that statement could be terrifying in another context,
Yeah,
where it's
yeah,
like, right, I
totally.
only have myself to blame if I don't, you know.
Well, right, and
do
that's
X,
not
Y, Z.
even what they're saying, because
Right.
I don't think that's even true. I think Muta's right in that nothing is definite in that regard, because you don't just have yourself to blame. There's all kinds of things you can blame. It's more the idea of, are you going to take ownership of your life?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, there's something to the idea that Hibito used the word definitely all the time. It maybe even unsettled Muta a little bit. It was just the, like, stop it. Like, maybe Muta rejected a little bit even more the idea of being an astronaut because he couldn't keep up with this very
Relentless
certain
enthusiasm
brother.
and positivity and
Yeah.
confidence. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are a few things that are more of a dampener to your own passion for something than it getting smothered by someone else's passion, right?
Yeah, because in a lot of ways, if you don't have ownership over your passion, you then could see it as something where, like, oh, that person's energy is interacting with my own in a way that I don't like.
If I can't be like them, which I clearly am realizing I can't, then therefore I can't have this thing. I can't enjoy this thing. I can't be passionate about it. I can't pursue it.
Yeah, it's amazing how if you don't have ownership over your life, basically, you end up in things like comparison.
Sure.
You end up in things like, oh, the reason why you're doing this isn't actually for you. You're doing this to please other people.
Right.
You're doing this specifically to look good for other people.
Or doing
You're
this-
doing this because of just something that doesn't have anything to do with what you actually want.
Or-
So therefore you don't know what you want, really.
Or put another way, you're doing this because you want the outcome of being an astronaut rather than because you want to be the person that goes through the process of the work to become an astronaut.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, like I think that there's so much wisdom in the idea of, hey, ownership of your life doesn't mean that you ignore reality.
Right. You're still
Reality still is the case. You're going to need
Right.
to put in 20 years effectively of work in order to do this, Hibito.
and even then you'll need to
even
get
then.
lucky, right?
And even
like
then,
the dude
exactly.
said, you know.
There's
Yeah.
nothing definite.
But right, exactly. And yet, if you don't do that, then you definitely won't.
Right.
Right? Like that's what you have control over.
Right.
If you definitely won't,
Yeah.
then there you go. You
You
know.
will probably not become a guitar master if you don't actually put in some work to become these things are obvious here.
Right, yeah. Or in fact, you definitely won't if you don't pick up a guitar, right?
No, I know. I'm talking about the, like, if you don't put in the work. Like,
right, exactly.
Like, there are people, obviously, that in certain fields can just naturally pick up certain things.
Yeah.
And they'll be proficient at it. Mm-hmm. But even those people still won't become the best in the world or become a part of the top 100 or what have you in that thing without putting in the hard, grueling, many hours, years, or what have you into that.
And that's where the mindset needs to shift, right? Because for Muta, it's something where it became discouraging. Yeah. Which, let's be real.
That's most of us.
That's totally fair and normal, right?
Because, that's most of us.
Otherwise, everybody would be Hibito, right? And that's why Hibito is an outlier. Mm-hmm. Because he, at the very least, was able to learn the lesson early that you take those things as encouragement. That, okay, cool. That means that you are actually, like, growing because you're struggling. All right, cool. Right. You're getting better, right? You are moving. Great. Yeah.
In some ways, there's a lovable stupidity to it where the people that have the capacity to push all the other things aside so that they can focus on the one thing have a pretty decent shot then of being able to actually put in the work to do the one thing.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of ways, most of the reason why the work to, get through the actual process and hurdle of it doesn't happen is not because you don't want to do it or because you don't have the capacity to do it, but it's because there was a point where you stopped doing it.
Right.
It's mostly just distractions and things that end up, outside of your control for the most part, pulling you away from that thing.
Mm-hmm. The thing that you said about, like, you actually have a shot, right? Mm-hmm. That reminded me of a favorite little anecdote from Brandon Sanderson lecture where he was talking about how everyone would tell him growing up that, like, becoming a writer, a professional writer, was like a 1 in a million kind of a thing, right? And he's like, I want to dispel that. Now, the thing is, the odds are nowhere near as good as if you were to compare yourself to, like, an engineer getting a job at engineering.
Yes.
Right? He's like, in my writing class, there's usually about 1 or 2 people every year from my class of 30 people that go on and become professional writers. If you said that in an engineering class, people would drop out of engineering, right? Because they'd be like, that's
bullshit.
That's bullshit, right? Right. But when you're talking about it not from a fiscal success standpoint, but from a artistic pursuit, this is my dream, is it possible? Then it's absolutely possible. It's
very encouraging,
right?
then potentially.
Like it's the you've got your shot, right? Mm-hmm. It'll take a whole lot of something, and luck is probably in there too. And
you have to be the 1 in 30.
Yeah, exactly. But that's possible, right?
Right.
It's not a 1 in a million like everybody says. And so, while I'm sure that for, say, being an astronaut is, again, orders of magnitude more, or less likely than, becoming a professional writer, say, the same concept kind of applies, right? People will say, yes, it's a 1,000,000 to 1 or whatever, right? And who knows? Maybe in the case of being an astronaut, it actually is 1,000,000 to 1, right? Or or worse. But
I think in a lot of ways they told us in the application bit, like earlier in the show, that there was in the 5 figures, I believe, of applicants, basically.
Right, and that's to the point where people actually get competent enough where they make it to the point of taking the test. Right?
So we have no way of knowing what the odds are in terms of the people that desire to become astronauts. But of those people that then put in the work to be able to get access to the application process.
Yep.
Meaning they cleared the, bare minimum.
Right.
Then of those people, it's like 1 in 10,000 or 1 in something like that.
And while that is something that can be absolutely very discouraging, then take it as a point of encouragement that basically when you do those things that get you closer to just take the test, even if you're only going to need to be 1 out of 10,000 or whatever, or something crazy by the time even you get to that point, all along the way, you're cutting off tens of thousands of of people that you're passing by, right? That don't make it to that point.
Yeah, thousands of people basically went through the same process as you to a margin of degree, similar.
Oh,
degree.
I would want to be an astronaut, and then they stopped.
Right. Yeah, and I think that there's something about this story that gets at the idea that Muta, in those quiet moments where he's not talking and he's just kind of watching and thinking, he's seeing someone basically do the equivalent of breaking the 4-minute mile in his mind.
Sure.
He's looking at them doing something that at one point in his life he considered to be impossible for Hibito to do. And then he did it.
Mm-hmm.
And so in his mind, illusions and all kinds of things that had been holding sway over him are just shattering in this euphoric, just, whoa, I need to lie back and just take this in.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved the idea that they visualize that in the story by our guy, the old young guy,
Right.
bringing up that, no, the launch isn't over.
Yeah.
There's still the smoke trail, and you go until that dissipates.
Yep.
And I think the reason for that is not just because it's a kind of a ritual that maybe he uses or something.
How often do you get to see something like that? Yeah.
Well, right, but the people that came there actually and have their hearts set on the launch, they're not the people that walked away
Immediately, yeah.
once the rocket was gone.
Right.
They're there pondering what this means for their lives, and the idea that human beings didn't just go up into space. Human beings made the process possible for those human beings to go up into space.
Right, exactly.
There's something so, I don't know, there's something so encouraging to me about the collaborative process of humanity doing something that to your mind, you know isn't impossible. Sorry to use a double negative. You know it's possible, but until you see it and like process out in your head what actually went into this, how many years of work, how many decades of technological innovation and research then made this possible, you realize, right, there are human beings that are on the cutting edge of humanity's growth and learning and progression. And it's just,
oh, yeah.
It's surreal.
It makes me kind of think of like when you're a kid and you watch like, I don't know, some like, Superman jumping up into space because he's Superman, right? And you can do all this stuff and it's like, oh, that's cool. And then you grow up and it's like, okay, that's a fun thing. But yeah, the idea of, no, what kind of crazy effort and, little miracles happening along the way took place in order to get it so that, we could build a rocket that would get people way up there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. And so having the visual storytelling of all these characters that are on the process of becoming astronauts, all
As they
stopping
watch.
and watching and taking it all in as they, in some ways, absorb the encouraging energy from this moment that, soon that could be me. In fact, like realistically, very soon, that's going to be me. Definitely.
Yeah.
And while none of them have gotten the full acceptance bit yet, it is fun that in this moment, even as the test is still ongoing, if you will, I love the idea that they might have even been watching the people watching to see like who leaves first.
Oh,
Like,
sure.
Who's the person that stays the longest here?
Oh, yeah. No, after the lunch, they are absolutely all like, as everybody else has left, they're congregating and they're like, let's go get some food.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the group hangout after this launch.
And with all the tissues that are passed towards Hibito's parents, because my heart went out to the mom and dad so much.
Yeah.
As she's wringing his hands to the point where, it's about to fall off probably, right? As
Blood loss, blood circulation cut off. Yeah.
Their little boy's all grown up, and he is like, as a parent, the whole idea of like, yes, your kids pass you by, right?
Right.
They reach heights that you couldn't. But this is a level of like on the nose, literal, example of that's got to be. That's got to be something to just realize.
I mean,
that just happened.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know. I've talked with people who, like, because it's it still happens today. But I've talked with people who have had sons go off to fight, basically, as soldiers.
Oh.
And basically the equivalent of the, I know you're going to be okay, but you're going to be putting your life in jeopardy.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything, like, as inspiring necessarily in that as much as it is seeing maybe your child become an astronaut going to space. I'm sure that's pretty high up there.
Yeah, becoming an astronaut and going to space is pretty hard to
But
beat.
not to compare, bringing up, though, the emotion of someone's going to come back. You know that they want this, that they are excited to go and do what they can. But
you
it's
are
the
worried.
but also they are a world away. There's nothing I can do. And you hope all the training, all the preparation.
Right.
They went through.
It's the exaggerated example of what, parenting is, of them just growing up and, moving out of the house or,
Sure, yeah.
But
And
taken
so,
on to a,
to an
a
extreme.
whole other extreme, yeah.
So it's just, it's exciting, but it's also, it's got to be one of the hardest things as parents as well, to realize that the passion and the dream of one of your kids ended up with them succeeding in a way that is going to take them so far away from you. And so you feel the most complicated, conflicting emotions of excitement for them and just fear and worry of them going off potentially to never return.
Oh yeah.
That's got to be.
Yeah, and if they never return, it's like you probably wouldn't even get the body, right? Like, it's just they're gone,
Oh, sure.
Like,
I was meaning also in the context of, like, if they want to be a world-traveling photographer.
Oh, sure. Yeah. The more theoretical never
Or they're going to write about, people in other countries as, like, a psychologist, so they're going to go on a 5-year journey, and it's the, like...
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
They're never going to be your baby again.
You will maybe, hear their voice on the phone or what have you.
See them on holidays,
or, video call technology, but having a hug with them won't happen for a long, long time and something like that. Yeah. Oh, but Space Brothers.
Great
Get
episode.
some good, deep stuff out of us. But wonderful, wonderful episode. And this guy is also the flight instructor.
Yeah.
So he's all like, hey, Muta, when I see
soon.
you next.
Yeah.
Or if I see you next. Because he's like, there are no definites, right?
Yeah.
I'll be your flight instructor.
So if you thought that driving on the ground was bad...
Yeah, you thought that was wild.
You ain't seen shit yet, sonny.
Yeah. I'm going to call you up a little bit.
But really, why do they call them hot dogs?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I was genuinely excited to learn something.
I was genuinely excited. I was like, wait, I'm going to learn something about hot dogs in an anime? I feel like my American needs to level up. Oh, okay. No, they don't know either. All right. Yeah. Nobody knows.
All I know is that the best ingredient to put on a hot dog is actually chili. I'm just going to say out
Chili's
there.
great.
Everybody that's like ketchup and mustard is missing out on the fact that the chili dog is one of the greatest things to ever combine two amazing foods together.
Don't put mustard on a hot dog. People might try and execute me for this. But if the mustard is actually worth eating, then it's too good for a hot dog.
Incredible. How can you say something so controversial and yet so brave?
I'm just saying.
I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm the chili dog enthusiast. I'm like chili, onions, and anything after that is just cheddar, as they say.
For me, it's more of the thing that when I see hot dogs, I think Costco hot dog, the truly inflation-proof unit of economic measurement. But then I think of the chicken bake, which if you haven't tried a Costco chicken bake, they're so good. Yeah. Anyways, that's random, but yeah.
Yeah. But all right, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel. See if any of that interests you. We'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.